What's going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning into my channel. So in today's video, I have a beginner stretch and strength combo for active aging. Be sure to hit the subscribe button if you want to learn more ways to incorporate movement and exercise into your life. Give me a like and leave a comment down below on other videos that you want to see in the future. So without further ado, I want to give you this routine. And just remember, this can be done anywhere. I'm out here on my front porch. It's going to be minimal equipment. All you need is a little something to hang from. You could even just hold on to the doorway molding inside of a door frame inside your house. You can even get one of those iron gyms that hooks into your doorway. So really, as long as you have some sort of hanging point, then you can do every single thing that I'm going to show you. So let's get started. Okay, so the first part we're going to do is we're going to go into this deep squat conditioning. And as you can see, I'm sitting on a stool. When people are first starting, typically most people have a hard time coming into this resting deep squat because they haven't done it in so long. So this is why I want you to start by sitting on something so you can actually relax your body into the moves. You're going to sit on the edge of whatever thing that you're sitting on. You're going to take your elbows and put them inside of your knees. Now your feet should be about hip width distance with the big toes veering away. Same thing with the knees. They're kind of pointing outwards. So the first drill we're going to do here is just move the knees away and then back together. So we're almost doing this stretching of the adductor muscles, those inner thigh muscles. I'm not counting the repetitions because I'm talking to you right now, but if I were to count, I would do 10 reps. And on that 10th rep, I'm going to hold for 10 seconds on the last one. So the next move that we're going to do for our deep squat conditioning, it's going to have us bringing our head down like we're doing a Jefferson curl. So check this out. Then I'm going to extend my head up and away. And I'm just going to repeat, going down, extending up. When I go down, I don't want to lift my hips. I want to keep my hips and butt heavy against the stool. If you're doing this without any assistance, if you're just in your deep squat, it's going to look like this. Making sure not to lift the hips. You can make a target for yourself by creating whatever height you want to with your hands, seeing if you can bring your head to the target and away from the target. Again, you're going to do 10 of these, and on the 10th one, we're going to hold the bottom for 10 seconds. And finally, movement number 3 is going to be our torso rotation. So once again, I'm sitting at the edge of my stool, or you can do this in your regular deep squat. I'm going to grab onto the ankle here, and I'm going to push this left arm into the left knee to help me get a little extra rotation out of my thoracic spine. I extend my arm up, which you can't see in the frame. I'm going to fold my arm, and then I'm going to point that elbow all the way to the ground. Rotating up, extending, and I'm looking at my fingernails because I'm reaching all the way up. I'm going to fold the arm and then come down. Let me back up a little bit so you can see the full version. So you can see here how I extend with the elbow first, then I'm reaching with the arm, folding, and then pointing that elbow down. Again, we're going to do 10 of these, and on the 10th one, we're going to hold at the top for 10 seconds, and then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Getting my arm into this position, rotating, extending, folding the arm, pointing it back to the ground. You can do this on the bench. You can do this in your deep squat. Once you've done those 3 exercises, that is your deep squat conditioning. All right, so now we're going to get into the hands. So for the hands, we're going to do a little bit of a stretching thing. So I'm going to position my hands actually close to my knees. I don't want to be in this regular crawling distance. I actually want to have the hands closer, and I want to make sure that my pointer fingers, the fingers that you normally pick your nose with, just making sure you're listening, those fingers are going to be parallel to one another. We're going to place them down about shoulder width apart. Now, when I do this, you can see that the arms can internally rotate and externally rotate. Internally rotate and externally rotate. We want to hold not this one, we want to hold external rotation, making sure those elbow pits are facing forward. Now let me give you the profile here. My hands are nice and close, pointer fingers parallel, arms externally rotated. I'm going to grow tall through my spine. Now from here, I'm going to come forward and I'm going to keep my palms connected. So I'm going to begin to feel a stretch in the backside of my forearms and those flexor muscles. I'm going to push my fingers in to send myself back. So I go forward into the stretch. I push my fingers to send myself back. Forward into the stretch, pushing yourself back. So you can do this first one anywhere from 40 seconds up to 2 minutes. And you also don't just have to go straight forwards and backwards. You could actually come forward into the stretch, and then you could stay forward and you could rock around left and right. You could do half circles. You really want to be intuitive or really exploring your stretch. You want to make sure that you're going and doing something that is actually feeling a stretch or making the stretch happen. So once you've done your little chunk of time with your palms facing down, hands in neutral, we're now going to externally rotate the hands as far as we can. With this one, I'm actually going to, again, set my hands pretty close to my knees. I'm going to go backwards first. Then I'm going to push my fingers to go forwards. I'm continuing to grow tall through the spine, pushing the fingers in to go forwards. Once again, I'm going to do this position anywhere from 40 seconds to 2 minutes. After I've externally rotated, now I'm going to internally rotate. Same concept, keeping the fingers close to the knees. When I do this one, I'm actually just going to do a circle that traces around my hands with my shoulders. And I'm going to make sure I go in both directions. When I'm leaning away over here to the right, which is probably your left, I am feeling the stretch in this opposite side. And when I come onto this side, leaning to my left, your right, I'm going to feel the stretch in this opposite arm. So same thing, move around and find the stretch. Once you've done all three of those positions with palm down, now we're going to do the same concept, but all with the top of the hands down. And when you do top of the hands down, you want to make sure that you're putting most of your weight into your legs and a lot less into the hands, because most people that first start this aren't used to stretching these extensor muscles now, and it feels really awkward to place the entire top of your hand down against the ground. Especially me, I'm doing this on decking boards. I would totally suggest to have some sort of yoga mat out. Make it nice and soft for yourself. But then as you get used to it, and as you get maybe a little more hardcore like me, you'll realize that you can do this anywhere you go. Take it on vacation, take it to work, it's all good. Let's get back to it. So, top of the hands are down on the ground. You can see how my hands are next to my knees. I'm doing my best to straighten out my elbows as well as externally rotate. Not internally rotate, externally rotate. So after I'm in this position, I'm going to grow tall through the spine. I'm going to continue to press my fingers into the ground, my fingernails that is, to move myself forward. I rock back into the stretch. I press the fingers in to go forward. Backwards and forwards. You can stay backwards because that's where the stretch is, and you can move around left and right. Again, 40 seconds to 2 minutes. That's our neutral position. Then I'm going to externally rotate my hands. With this one, the fingers are facing away from the body, and I actually tend to put just a little more distance from my knees and my hands with this one. And this one, I'm going to rock forward into the stretch. That's when it's loaded. I'm continuing to grow tall through the spine. Then I'm going to push the fingers to go backwards. Forwards into that stretch, pushing those fingers in to go backwards. And same thing, 30 seconds to 2 minutes. The final one is going to be internal rotation. Remember with this one, the wider your hands are, the easier it's going to be. The closer together you bring your hands, the more of a stretch that you're going to feel. Now, what you need to remember is, yes, we are stretching the wrists, but by pressing our fingers back into the ground, what we're actually doing is we're stretching the wrist and then we're actually contracting those muscles. So we're actually bringing our muscles in our forearms to the fullest range of motion, and then we're contracting the muscles on top of that. And really, if this is all a usable range of motion, if you can control this range of motion, then you have great mobility in the areas that we're training. Because you have to remember, mobility is being able to use the full range of motion in whatever joint you're dealing with. So for my leg strength, I'm going to show you a shrimp squat. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this stool as a marker or as a target. So I'm actually going to step in front of my stool and I'm going to stand on one leg in front of that object. This other leg is going to remain in the air. I want to remember to keep my heel as close to my butt as I can the whole time. With my arms, I'm just going to try to keep them out in front of me. And as I go down, I'm actually going to lean and I'm going to bring my arms out to help counterbalance. I'm going to lower myself down to the target and I'm just barely going to touch it, and then I'm going to stand up. So remember, we're not trying to rest on this target. We're simply trying to use it as a gauge on how far down we need to go. So as soon as you feel a molecule of the knee touching, where is it? Where is it? There it is. I'm going to go back up. That's already 2 reps. With this, we're going to do 5 repetitions, and you want to make sure that when you go down, it's always slow, 3 to 4 seconds. So this is the speed. 3, 2 more. I'm standing all the way up and I'm straightening out this knee. 4. Remember, you can make this target much higher. If this is too challenging for you, just give yourself a higher target. Don't make it too crazy. And then you would just repeat the same thing on the other leg. Shrimp squat, heel close to butt, arms out in front of my body. I lower myself down nice and slow. I keep my arms in front of me for counterbalance. 1, 2, 3, almost there, yo. You got this. 4, and then final one is 5. Okay, so we're going to combine the shrimp squat with a single leg good morning. So again, this is going to be more of a balance type move. I'm going to stand on my left leg and I'm going to keep the left knee straight. This other leg is just going to stay in the air. And in order to keep my left knee straight, I have to hinge my hips. I need to bring my butt back as I bow down. I'm going to keep my eyes looking across and not looking down as I bow. And I want to try to keep my spine as neutral or as straight as I can. With this one here, you can go anywhere from 8 to 10 repetitions. And on that last repetition, we're going to hold for 10 seconds. So I come down on that last rep and I hold 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I think you get the point. Then you would do the same thing on the other leg, standing up, making sure you keep the knee straight. If you have a hard time balancing and you're just wobbling the whole time, what you can do is you can use the big toe of the leg that's in the air, and you can just lightly place that big toe right next to the big toe of the foot that you're standing on. So you'll see it still keeps this foot in front of my body, and when we do this, the stomach is always going towards this leg essentially. So a common mistake that I'll see when people do this is as they bend down, they allow this leg to go in back of them. And we don't want that movement to happen. We want this leg to stay completely still. As I bow down, my stomach goes towards the leg, and then I come up. Remember, we're going to do anywhere from 8 to 10 reps, and on that last rep, we're going to hold at the bottom for 10 seconds. So once again, you need to realize that all of these movements are including flexibility with the strength. That is the whole point of what I do. It's mobility training. This is very efficient work, and literally you can see it's very minimal equipment. But with this next combo, we are going to get into the rings. At the beginning of the video, I gave you some options of things that you could use if you don't have anywhere to hang in your home. But I would suggest, if you are planning on doing a bunch of at-home workouts, try to figure out some way that you can find some sort of way to hang, whether you're putting up rings or you're buying an iron bar or you just build yourself a pull-up bar. Let's get back to the work. So our final progression, or our final combo, I should say, is going to be our upper body, and it's going to deal with the shoulders. Now, with this one, I'm going to set up my hands so that they're directly under my shoulders. Once again, the fingers that you pick your nose with, right, those pointer fingers, we want to make sure that they're parallel with each other. The rest of the fingers are going to be sprawled apart, and I want to keep that external rotation, not internal, external. I'm going to grow tall through the spine, and I'm going to keep my spine here. Now, the trick to this is to retract the shoulders, which means to pinch them together. When I pinch the shoulders, you'll notice my body went down, and then I'm going to protract my shoulders, and you'll notice that my torso goes up. So I retract, I hold for 2 seconds, 2 Mississippi, I protract, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. So this is an easy variation where my knees are under my hips. You could do a slightly harder variation simply by just extending the knees further back. And eventually you can do a variation where you're in this plank position doing the same thing. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. Now, a common mistake that people will make with this is they will bend the elbows. They pinch and then they start to bend. This is not a push-up. This is locking out the elbows to make columns, and it's all about bringing the shoulder blades together and separating the shoulder blades. Believe it or not, this is a huge missing link to a lot of people here. So the reason why people have a hard time with strength issues, with shoulder issues, all that, simply because they're unaware of the capabilities of what your shoulders can do. These exercises start to make you more aware of that. With those scapular push-ups, you're going to do anywhere from 10 to 12 repetitions. Now, with those scapular push-ups, you're going to do anywhere from 10 to 12 repetitions, and you're going to couple it with an active hang. Now, this is where you need to find whatever hanging point you have at your house. My feet are on the ground. If you look back here, I'm on the ground. I'm just keeping my feet on the ground. I'm just in this ball crouched position. But what I'm gonna do here is, it's gonna kind of be like that scapular push-up, because I'm just gonna move the shoulder blades. I wanna keep my elbows locked out. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm going to depress my shoulder blades. When I depress my shoulder blades, the shoulders are moving away from the ears, and this makes my neck grow nice and long. As I allow my scapula to go back into elevation, notice how my head goes down. The shoulders are going right up towards my ears. So it's going to be the same tempo with this one. 2 seconds at the top, 2 seconds at the bottom. So I go into active hang by depressing the shoulders, 2 Mississippi, and then I go into passive hang by allowing my shoulders to go up towards my ears. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. I'm trying to keep my elbows as straight as I can as I do this, and this is a movement that is going vertically up and down. So I'm going straight up and then I'm going straight down. Now, once again, with that exercise, you want to do anywhere from 8 to 12 repetitions. I said before, this is a beginner stretch and strength combo for active aging. So you need to make sure as you're aging, you need to give your body the stimulus that it needs. So we started with that deep squat conditioning. With that, you're only going to do 1 round of it. Then you're going to move into the wrist conditioning. And with the wrist conditioning, you're only going to do 1 round of that as well. Once we get into those strengthening exercises, I'm talking about the shrimp squat and the 1 leg good morning. those you would do for 3 rounds, as well as the scapular push-up and the active hang. That would also be for 3 rounds. I gave you the repetitions when I showed you the moves. Now you know how many rounds you're doing. So I guess the next thing to do is to watch the next video so you can learn more ways to incorporate movement, exercise, fitness, whatever you call it, into your life. I obviously like to call it movement, but it's all good. We'll talk about that on a later video. Mini Movement Man saying be kind to one another and move well. Peace, my friends. Bye-bye.